Hello and welcome to a brand new video. This week I've had to forego some of the renovation work as I needed some much needed maintenance on the farm. I needed to clear some of the debris from the olive cuttings. It may not look like it again today because the weather has changed again, but the weather is starting to heat up. Summer is speedily on its way, although it doesn't feel like that today. But for that reason, again, summer brings with it a big fire risk. So I did need to clear some of the olive branch cuttings from the farm. And as I started piling them all together, I realized just how much was there. And the reason that we have to clear some of that cutting debris off the farm. I learned all about the burn process, how to apply, what happens, and just how quickly it can get rid of all the debris lying around on the farm. The other thing that happened this week was I had some issues with my well, more specifically my pump. I've never had to work with a pump before, so this was all brand new to me. For a split second I thought I was going to be out of water, but luckily a really good Samaritan came by to help me out and figure that out. And lastly, I end what was a really busy week at a brand new bar opening in Castelo Branco by fellow South Africans. I hope you enjoy this week's video. This is Girl Meets Farm. Hello, Peachy. He has been popping in and out a lot more and also getting flight ready for spring. Yes, boy. It's nice to see him out and about more. So yesterday my water pressure dropped significantly, and to the point where I was wondering if my well ran out of water. I walked up here to my main well and the pump was making a huge noise. So I switched it off because it was also feeling incredibly hot. I switched it off overnight, and now I'm here with a bunch of tools to see if I can figure out what the issue is. I've asked a couple of people for advice. Honestly, I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing with the pump. I've looked at a couple of YouTube videos. It seems like most people say the pump needs to be primed, but this bladder thingy, pressure thing, is the thing that was getting like really, really hot. So I don't know where the issue is, but I don't know, some people were thinking that it is because there's no water going through the pump, and it could be that there's an air blockage or there's a blockage of some other kind. So when I run this pump, which is the pump that pulls water into my water tank over here, everything is fine. But when I put this one on, which is the one that runs water to the house, there's the problem. So there's obviously an issue there, but what it is, who knows. From what I've read on YouTube, it seems that one has to kind of undo this one or this one. I don't know which is the main one. Or it could be a screw here by the fan. Gosh, I don't know. Alright, so... So the pressure was pretty high. I think it was sitting at 30. It's now thankfully down, but yeah, I was just really worried about this thing. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to try everything. But first of all, I did put the electricity off. The switches are currently off, but I want to double check that there's no electricity here. Okay, thankfully There is nothing here. So one of my biggest fears is to work with water and to work with electricity. So this is a pretty big deal for me. Okay, I'm going to see what I can figure out. Right, so the dilemma with the pump is over. Although sadly I didn't fix it myself. I brought all my tools and then realized I didn't have anything that fitted. Hey boy, that fitted on here to take it off, because after doing a lot of reading, as I mentioned, I thought it could be a pump that needs priming. A friend came to help me because he had the right size tools, a very good neighborly Samaritan. I'm super grateful for him that he was able to come and help me so quickly as well. It turned out that the water pressure thingy was full of water. It's not meant to be full of water, it's meant to be full of air. And that's why we were losing pressure of the water and all of this, and everything wasn't working properly. So we unscrewed this, which just comes off, and then took the little bolt off, and there was just water squirting out of there, and there really isn't meant to be any water coming out of there, only air. We then tried to put water in here, but it wouldn't take water because it was so full air in here, but it wouldn't take any air because it was so full of water. So we had to undo this top plug, and as we opened it, the water literally just squirted out, which from some YouTube videos can happen, but I wasn't prepared for the volume of water that came squirting out of there. But anyway, so that is why everything was underwater, which is dried a little bit more already. We let that water just drain and come out. So this was full. Thankfully, it wasn't the pump. We could put that back. And then when we put that back, this had drained completely of water, which is great. We could then put air back in. Thankfully, he brought a compressor with him. So he already expected what it was going to be. He brought an air compressor with him so we could put more air in here. It did take a little bit of time, but this is now full of air again, and the water pressure is amazing. It is not heating up at all, and it is quiet as a mouse. It is currently on. So I'm super happy for that. Yesterday it was literally screaming. I could hear it all the way down there. So I knew something was very wrong. But it is quiet now. It is working again. If it happens again, and if I start losing pressure, then I know what the problem could potentially be. It may be that the bladder inside this water pressure thingy has popped, which means that I need to replace this thing or potentially the whole system. But the pump is working, so if it happens again, it could potentially mean that the bladder inside has popped and I just need to replace this water pressure thingy. So yay! Yeah, I'm so happy that we could actually find the problem, or that he could find the problem, and that we could actually solve that today. I'm really, really grateful for that, and everything is working beautifully back in the house again. We've got beautiful pressure back in the house again. So yeah, happy that worked out. Thank you again for your help.
And then it was time for my first heap burn on the farm. This turned out to be a much larger process than I thought it would be. Gathering up all the olive branches that were cut off from the pruning was actually a lot more work than I thought. Thankfully, I had friendly helpers close by. Although my helper was far more obsessed with trying to find moles all day. As I mentioned, the burn process was a lot bigger than I expected it to be, and I actually did this over the span of 2 days. The first step was to gather and heap up all of the branch cuttings that were still lying around the trees. It has been a while since the prune had taken place, so the grass had already grown over a lot of the branches. So pulling some of these out was actually a little bit more intensive than others that hadn't been grown over. But yes, so the first day was just spent gathering up all of the little branches at every single tree. There are 40 trees on my farm, and just making little piles across the farm. And the second day was spent bringing that all closer to my burn spot and then the actual burn process itself. Some trees had more than others. I had chosen a burn spot at a big open area on my top terrace and then proceeded to prepare the base of the burn pile with some of the old debris from the previous year. I then added some of the drier branches as a base to start the fire. I then started bringing some of the lower terrace branches towards the upper terrace burn spot to try and get it all done in one day. But it proved quite a bit of effort and a long way to go with all of the branches from the lower terrace, so I decided instead to do the lower terrace on another day.
Today is finally my burn day, where I get to burn all the debris, all the olive tree cuttings that I have now heaped and cleared away and gathered from all of the olive trees and made little heaps all over the place. I've chosen my burn area and I need to bring all those heaps closer to this burn area. I still need to prepare the area by putting a trench around the burn area, gather my water just in case the fire gets away from me. Here in Portugal we have different burn times of the year. There are 4 bands of burn times: green, yellow, orange and red. Red is completely restricted, that is the highest fire risk season. Green of course being when there is very low risk, you still need to prepare yourself in case the fire gets away from you, but it is allowed. Farm burns, extensive burns, braais, barbecues, all of that is allowed in the green area. Now, it is actually the green time of year right now because it is still early spring, but this week, as Murphy would have it, there has been some hot air that has blown in from Africa, from North Africa, according to the Meteorological Society, and this week has now become a yellow zone. So I'm still allowed to do my burn, but there is a higher risk at the moment, so I will make sure that I've got all the fire preparation with me in case it gets away from me. There is low wind today. I have double checked the website that tells you what band you're in, so I am still allowed to do this. The process itself is quite an easy process to follow. There is a website that you need to register and apply for your burn. It is an automated process, pretty much in the green time, green to yellow time, whereby you submit your application to burn. You have to indicate the exact point where you plan to do your burn heap as well. You are allowed to burn within 10 meters of that exact pin location, because if the system approves it, what it does is it sends it out. It not only registers it, of course, but it sends it out to the local fire department so that they are aware that if they should see smoke, they shouldn't be too concerned, because it will more than likely be, if it is on that location, it'll more than likely be the burn that you are doing for the day. If you deviate beyond the 10 meters of where you've pinpointed your burn, the fire department, or bombeiros, which is almost what I call them, but that is what they're called in Portugal, will make a turn to come and investigate whether everything is fine. This does not preclude that the GNR or the fire department may still arrive at your premises when you are doing a burn, just to check what you're doing and that you have prepared and that you have put all the safety precautions in place for your burn. For this reason, when you've registered your burn and you have your approval, you will get an SMS notification as well as an email with your proof that you have applied and registered and been approved for your burn day. So you need to keep that at hand in case any of the authorities do come and check on your burn, so that you can show them that you did register and get approved for your burn day. Now, very easy process, as I mentioned. You pretty much get instant notification from that website, and then after that, on your actual burn day, you do need to go to the second website, which shows all the different bands of burn days, and that you are still allowed to burn on that particular day, that it doesn't sit in the orange or the red bands. So like I said, today unfortunately I've moved to a yellow band, but that does not stop me from doing my burn. I'm still allowed to do it. So my next step is to dig my trench around my burn area, collect all the heaps and bring them a little bit closer for this top terrace, and then we're going to do our burn. It's really funny. So I've got my two helpers today, Shiva. Shakti is off exploring somewhere, or probably took herself back to the house. But some days Tobias really likes to come and assist with farm work, so he has been following me up and down with the wheelbarrow to collect all the olive branches. And he just wants some love today. He's very loving today. Doesn't happen every day. Shiva is still not sure, so he's really keeping his distance, but he can tolerate him. Shakti doesn't really like the cat at all, but we'll get there slowly. She still chases him. I don't know why he has to lay in the in the trench. It's really funny, but Shiva's otherwise occupied right now. But yeah, this has been going on all morning. Right, I have now brought all of the heaps of olive cuttings closer to the burn zone. This is just a top terrace, so this should make it a little bit easier to grab everything. Also got some water buckets. I did make a trench around my burn area. But unfortunately, as you can probably hear, the wind has picked up already a little bit. It usually gets stronger during the course of the day. So I'm going to splash some water behind the burn area because we are currently downwind. And I've placed all of the olive branches upwind so that they can't catch fire from a loose spark that the wind maybe sweeps up. Burn zone downwind. I'm going to put some water behind it so that nothing behind it can catch a light. Luckily everything is quite green. There is nothing that's super flammable, but you never know, and I'd rather be safe than sorry. Now to fill up the buckets and do the burn. I don't think I need a lot to get this going as it's pretty dry, but I've added some fire lighters just in case as well, just to get it going. Or maybe I'm wrong. Right, that should do it. And just like that, all the heaps, sorry, are gone. Those are some branches that I found on the farm from last year's burn. I'll use them to start the burn for the lower terrace when I do that one. They're nice and dry. Yeah. And that's it. Upper terrace done. So my Osmo battery died, but I wanted to show you guys the very end of the fire and how it dies down, and of course how I'm going to just put it out completely and make sure that there's no further embers, because this was incredibly hot and it can, so if I put something dry on there now, it'll definitely catch a light again, and that's obviously something we don't want. I can't leave this area until I've put this fire out completely. So the 3 buckets of water that I did bring, I will use as my first round, and then go and get some more water. So there's a new bar that's opened in Castelo Branco, and it's called Zebra Crossing. It's owned by South Africans, so of course I had to come and check it out. I'm sure there'll be a couple of familiar faces inside, so I'm looking very forward to showing you guys what they have to offer. If you're in Castelo Branco and you're from South Africa, do come and make a turn here at Zebra Crossing. And of course I'm here with Gert and Luca and Jane from Our Perfect Piece of Portugal. Everyone's gonna be out and about tonight.
Here's a brief look at the inside of Zebra Crossing, but if you're in the area, come make a turn yourself to see what more lies in this amazing little bar.